Dear curious listeners of the podcast series Curious Ears of Gaudeamus, it's an absolute honor to have with us today a sound artist, composer, improviser, researcher, and curator, Hardi Kurda. Hello, Hardi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure, man.
I'm going to try it in your language, Kurdish Sorani. Slao Choni,
من باشم سپاس تو چونی؟
Basham Supas. Was it okay to ask how are you in
Yes, was absolutely okay.
Sorani variety of the Kurdish language, right? That's where your origin is.
Yes,
In
that's
the
my
city of
origin, yeah.
Suleimani?
And from the city of Suleiman, yes.
Can you
And
tell us
Hardi
about
Kurda,
your origins there?
yes.
How you made a sonic journey that takes us to this podcast from 2002 and how that took you to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, like beginning of what I mean, first of all, by the sonic, I mean, what you just described, the sonic journey. And I started the music when I was 9, direct after the revolution. But then it took many different paths of learning. Yeah, the interest from the childhood to the youth, and with that, what was available at that time. Yeah, I played first time with the broken guitar, which was very fun. And then I turned to a little keyboard and then go to a little music school, like a private. And I became very interested in violin, which I studied violin in the Institute for Fine Art in Slimani for 5 years, which is you go from the ninth grade and then you start this school, like an high school blended, which actually not educating the student to be a musician. Is more like this educating a student to become a teacher. But because there was not so many musicians, everyone went there wanted to be a musician. So that's why many musicians, famous musicians, even from Kurdistan, they graduate from the school. Was very important, still is very important. So, so yeah, I played in a pop music. I make an experiment, but I must say that the pop music I did at that time, no one liked it because it was completely different. So I didn't like to repeat things. I didn't like to follow the road of what was the genre is was kind of popular at that time. So for example, I take out the rhythms, I put the different instruments, like I didn't like this, I put the guitar and flute and shimshal or balaban, like that was crazy. Like how you can do this? This is not possible. I mix the quarter tone melody with the Western harmony, which was really weird, like a dissonance. It doesn't sound good in their ear at that time when the audience listened to. So I had this always kind of this idea of the challenging not only the rule, the challenging the listeners, challenging the listening. So for me, was this listening is not about in a way pleasing you, in not a way to kind of giving you uh, uh, the way how you usually listen to a thing. Always I try to surprise him
That makes the
to make
perfect
something.
bridge to the title, which I forgot mentioning of your podcast, which is Sonic Displacement. And you talk about urgent listening, listening to
Yes,
unnoticed layers of sound of everyday life. So that sounds like the seed already of your current research already back then.
exactly, exactly. There was something. There was already something that I wanted to explore. So for me, sound and music always this kind of surprise element, always something that you're waiting for. It's like I always um, kind of comparing with the food when you go to a restaurant. If you know what you eat, that would be not so much interesting. You paid so much money to go into a restaurant and you're so excited. You give it time. It's not like you go into whatever eat street food, but this moment when you're sitting and you are excited what the chef is giving to you, is the moment about is not about you are hungry and you wanted to eat. You is this excitement of the taste. And that's the same for me in listening. This excitement of listening of and also underlying this layer of sound that we hear in the daily life, but we don't pay attention. And for me, it's like putting those together and find out what's
Like you
you know.
refer to listening to smell or to silence. Is that something we're going to learn while listening to your podcast?
I mean, it's all depending on when. Uh, I believe when you trigger something, it also happening something. So when I trigger, like, okay, you not controlling the listening, but kind of guiding, kind of while you're listening, you pay attention to how you feel, you smell around you. You know how many times we listen. It happens sometimes when, for example, you go buy a vinyl in an old shop, and as soon you put the vinyl on and you feel the smell is back from the place where you bought it,
Mhm.
or the room that you listen to, when like there is so many kind of interrelation between our senses, or something you have been eating and you listen to this sound, to this music. So there is always this link, and I try to kind of emphasize it, like when you actually listen, how you feel, how you listen to your smell. This is kind of relating to the sound again. So for me,
Right.
that's very important to connect all senses. It's not just about the listening; it's about the listening to the whole. Yeah.
And there's also strong elements in your podcast when you discuss and you show us many fragments that have been composed, especially for this podcast, we must say. You talk about sound, memory, and place, also about the displacement, how we displace sound and how sound displaces us. You talk about your journey in 2002 to Europe. What is this positioning sound geographically or in time? How do you address this sound displacements?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a very interesting question. It could be geographical. It could be as well a time and space. For me, was something, I guess it was in between, because when I mean, as you mentioned, like all my research is about listening in time of crisis, which is the kind of the idea of the urgent listening. What means the urgent listening? So for me, was this has been noticed when I had this experience when I immigrated to Europe in 2002, and I was in a container, completely dark, and I just had a small radio, so I had no idea about the location where I'm going, and I was on a floating boat, which is for me was mm, I couldn't orientate myself to my place because I didn't know. I just was in one place, which is even I couldn't see half of meter, like I just see barely my body.
Yeah.
And the listening becomes something kind of navigating both the outside and the inside, and becomes something very important, that not about just hearing the sound, but also filtering some sounds that you don't want to hear, and
Mm.
also focusing, magnifying some other sounds that's very kind of internal sound, like you hear your heart pulses, you hear noises, blood circulation, the stress level,
Mhm.
all kind of feeling. It turned to some sort of a listening channel for you, just to make yourself aware of what's happening, and that's
Going
happening
on.
not by pardon.
That's clearly going on in your podcast. So of course, secretly, I listen to the podcast before presenting it, and that's very much the core of the business. I strongly
Exactly.
advise our listeners to give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about kind of all about for all of us. It's not the when I say like a listening in time of crisis, it's not a crisis like should happen something very dramatic. It could be in your day that you wake up and you are lost today completely. Like you have no idea what you do or what do you want to do. So for me, this kind of the moment of listening, when you actually bring back all these senses back to yourself, and it's not a meditation, it's actually a very kind of sense of awareness,
Mhm.
deep awareness of where I am, and yeah, how I feel.
Right.
This is for me is very important. Yeah.
There's two aspects I'd like to mention of your relationship with Gaudeamus. Next year, you will be a member of the jury for the Gaudeamus Composition Award. So this aspect of urgent listening and what we always try to sharpen our senses and how to listen to and notice layers of sound is going to be important. Thank you very much.
Yes.
This is end of September 2025. You have just been to this edition of Gaudeamus as an international visitor, and you'll be back next year as a jury member. The other aspect I'd like to mention for our listeners is your own festival, which people can go to. One of our curators, Matthijs Mantel, was at the last edition of your festival. But before we comment that, let's listen to a little excerpt of your podcast so we can comment it. Just 1 minute and 20 seconds that I consider relevant. To give a bit of a shape for listeners, it starts with 3.5 minutes of sound that really sharpen your senses. Then we hear Hardi speaking and explaining, alternating with compositions. And then by minute 22, he reaches a kind of partial conclusions and invites us to listen to the rest of the podcast, in which we hear your native language, Sorani Kurdish, and we hear you translating into English every now and then, so we can all follow it. Let's listen to that transition, the end of your dissertation into pure urgent listening.
For me, composing this radio piece was like building a space for listening where you, as a listener, can be part of this improvisation. I want you to listen not only with your ears, but with your whole body, to feel the textures of sound, to smell them, to taste them, to let them awaken memory or imagination. Listening happens now, in this very moment. That's why it's urgent, because sound only exists as it passes, and we must be here for it. Together, we displace the sound by listening. Together, we become the air. I hope you enjoy this journey of a sonic displacement.
Beautiful words, Hardi, and amazing sound. After
Yeah.
listen for half hour of your composition in your podcast.
Yeah. I like mixing because I found out since I was doing my master research at Gothenburg University, I found out that the part of way how I can express myself is not through sound, because we have a very strong literature history, so and also embedded in the language. So the literature, the poetic way how we express ourselves, even in the daily life language, there is so much metaphor when we speak, even in our daily life. So so I found this that could be useful to kind of finding a way to go to the sound.
Thank you.
And yeah, it was kind of also connecting kind of my way of making to the audience important. Yeah.
Great. Tell us a little bit about the festival you curate since 2017. Is that correct?
Yes, it's before that it was not a festival, it was a kind of project. It was kind of not as similar, but it was a kind of project inviting artists, and we did like I had a workshop and we had a performances, but not kind of more organized, let's say, not more kind of have a regular kind of month like now we are do it in annually in April. Um, So yeah.
Next edition, April 26th?
Next edition is April 26th, and we will celebrate the 10th edition. We started in 2017, so 2026 will be the 10th edition.
Is it still called Space 21?
Yes, it's space21.org. This is the website name. Yes.
And where does it take place?
It takes place in Slemani.
How do we get there?
You can get there. It's very easy. You take a plane, you go there.
Straight from Madrid, from Salamanca?
Yes. There's a couple of islands. Yeah. They go to Slemani, they go to Erbil. Erbil is more easier, more kind of international airport. Slemani also international airport, but the Erbil have more connections. And from there is a kind of 2.5 hour drive. Very nice, beautiful mountains you pass through, and I love it. Most of the time I go back, I go to Erbil and go to Slemani. I miss this, between the mountains, and always you meet the local restaurants on the way, which is amazing because they're all food from the local.
Why do you miss it? Where are you now?
I'm in London. Of course,
what brings you there?
Yeah, by accident. No, it was like I was my end of research PhD, and also my partner. She's also cellist, Khabadaba. She's started the master. So we had a plan coming here for 1 year, and then it started pandemic. So we stuck, and we have kids, so going to school. So it became a little bit complicated to move. Otherwise, my nature is not to stay in one place for 8 years. This is not me.
Hence the name.
I like to move.
Displacement.
Yes, exactly. I like to displace myself. I feel like, it's we have an expression in Kurdish says like the stone it has its own place when it's not moving. When you move this. In Kurdish say like a bertleje khoy sangina. It means like when the stone have it find their own place, don't move it. If you move it, they never can find their own place again, because the place has changed. And I find myself like since I moved to Europe, I feel like I don't feel anywhere home, like at the same time, everywhere home. So for me, kind of accept this fact and more enjoy to move. Find this kind of more give me more kind of curiosity and learn more and enjoy more when I move to different places. Yeah.
With that's the invitation for urgent listening when the sound with you or you move within the sound. Thank you very much. Sapas Hardi Kurda.
Thank you for the invitation.
It will be launched soon. You can access through the website of Gaudeamus or all the regular platforms, and we'll see you maybe in April in Slemani or in September 2026 Gaudeamus, where you'll be doing
both. Yes. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.